What do you call a cow with 2 legs? Lean beef. Today we're gonna find out if I can cook a tri-tip like a prime rib and save a bunch of money. I love to eat prime rib. I don't like to pay the price of prime rib. Right now, a choice prime rib is about $16 a pound by me. I can pick up a tri-tip for about $8 a pound, and if I cook it the same way, hoping to get similar results. Let's grab that tri-tip, because I've already done a little bit to it. This is my tri-tip. It started life as about a 4.1 pound tri-tip, and to figure out how it got to this point, we gotta go back.
To prep my tri-tip, all I had to do was get it out of the package and dry it off really well. Then it needed a light trim. There was some bits of silver skin and weird fat and some hanging meat that really just wasn't gonna cook well if it was left on there. I also had to trim down the fat on the top, almost like trimming down the fat on a brisket. I wanted a nice thin layer of fat, but not a whole lot of fat. Just enough to give us a good flavor without being overpowering. To do this, I was using my 12-inch chef knife from West KnifeWorks. We're going to talk a little bit more about this knife later in the video. They sent it to me, and I've got some thoughts. Once it was all cleaned up, it is time to start our overnight dry brine. All we're going to do is coat this pretty heavily in some kosher salt, Diamond Crystal kosher salt. It can take a lot of salt. This is a pretty thick piece of beef, so be liberal with it. Get a nice coating of salt in there. Then I just stuck it in my fridge overnight, and I'll see you back the next day.
After its minor trim and overnight dry brine, this is looking mint. It has a beautiful red color to it. It is nice and dry on the exterior. Perfect for making our faux prime rib.
Now's a good time to talk about the grain on a tri-tip. It runs in 2 directions. The one part goes in this direction, and the other part goes in this direction, kind of like a brisket. We're gonna have to split this guy when we serve it so we can cut it across the grain.
This is so dry, in fact, I don't know if spices are gonna really stick to this very well. So I'm just gonna rub it with a little bit of avocado oil. I don't wanna introduce any new flavors really with like a barbecue style binder. I wanna keep this more herby and clean tasting. Now I need to decide if I'm gonna cook this fat side up or fat side down. Let's go fat up. See if maybe the fat drips down into it. I don't know if that actually happens. I'm gonna keep the flavor profile pretty simple on this. We're gonna go with some dried oregano. Said herby, prime ribby, a little bit of sage, not much, a tiny bit of black pepper. I have found on the shorter cooks, if you put black pepper on there, it doesn't break down like it does in a barbecue cook, like in a brisket where you can coat it with a bunch of black pepper and it's not spicy. If it doesn't have that long amount of time, you're gonna get too much spice. My family doesn't like spice other than me. And last but not least, dad dust. This is 50% granulated garlic, 50% granulated onion, and a splash of MSG. Recipe is on my website and it'll be linked in the description. No salt, because we've already salted this. Now, if you're gonna use a pre-made rub, be careful, check the ingredients and look for salt content. You've already salted your meat. You don't wanna add any more salt at this point. We're gonna go stick this back in the fridge while we go set up our Kamado Joe.
Got my charcoal divider in here because I want to do a dual zone setup. I'm also using fresh charcoal because I want to get a really clean burn out of this.
I used to light my coals with this little guy, but I was using it to burn weeds, not what this one's really used for, and I burned it out. So I had to get one bigger. One bigger is not the right English. A bigger one. I got this one. Now I can easily get it into the Kamado, light the coals, and if I want to use it to burn weeds, I can. This thing is crazy. Here, hold on. Oh, mama, that worked better than I could have hoped for. Now that they're lit, I'll throw a couple chunks of applewood on there to get some nice smoky flavor in our prime rib.
After our chunks of wood are in, we're gonna go ahead and set up a dual zone setup. I'm gonna throw a grate right over these coals for searing later. Then I'm gonna put in my deflectors. Then I'm gonna put a grate in on the upper rack so we can keep the food away from that heat. For the vent settings, I'm gonna go with a tiny bit open on the top and just a finger width open on the bottom vent.
Now all we have to do is wait for that thing to come up to temp. While that's happening, let's knock out a quick herb butter.
To make an herb butter, you need herbs and you need something to chop it with. I'm gonna use my 12-inch West KnifeWorks chef knife. West KnifeWorks sent me this knife just to check out and said, let us know what you think. I've already done one video on it where I kind of went a little bit more in depth on it and reviewed it. And now After cooking with it for a while, I have some thoughts. It is a really good all-purpose chef knife. 12-inch I thought was going to be too big, but even for minimal tasks, I've had no problem with it. So what we're going to do here is we're going to pull off all these leaves. I've used this knife for barbecuing. I've used it for general stuff. It's going to be absolutely perfect to slice this tri-tip because you need a nice long, sharp knife. Very well built. I love that it is a full tang knife. That means that the steel goes all the way through the handle, which makes it really sturdy. If you have to do something like with a lot of force, you can be confident that it's not going to break on you because the steel goes all the way through the handle. I've had a knife break off at the handle on me trying to cut something that was really, really hard. And we're going to kind of do the same for some fresh basil. If you can get your hands on some fresh herbs, use fresh herbs for your herb butter. It's going to taste better. For the basil, I like to take it and kind of just ball it up, and then you can still get a nice little rocking motion with this knife. It's not too long. It's got a little curve in it. The handle's very comfortable. I love knives. I have a lot of knives. And then we'll just go across the other side. Got a bench scraper here. I like to scrape with these instead of the knife. Keeps your knife blade a little bit sharper, longer. You have to do less maintenance on your knives. And then this stuff, we're going to kind of do the same, get it into a chunk, and then just start running our... You want to get pretty fine with rosemary. It is a hard herb. You don't want big chunks of it in your herb butter. You want it to look kind of like that. Last up, fresh garlic. I think 4 cloves for the amount of butter that I have should be good. In my previous video where I was using this, I was using it to crush the garlic, and it's actually pretty thin. You can actually cut your hand. It's not a very good idea to do that. And a viewer said Alton Brown uses his bench scraper to crush all his garlic, and I was like, that's an amazing idea. I'd usually have it around anyway. Makes a lot more sense, and it's probably better on your knife than to hit your knife. So we're just going to take it and crush it. This will help us get the papers off it. I like how long this is. I can just keep my hand on the one side to keep it steady and just rock up and down. Butter. This is about 4 tablespoons of butter. We're going to put it in there, mix that all up, and we got herb butter. Garlic herb butter. Now, let's go get our steak. I'm going to use a wireless thermometer, and I'm going to put it in the thickest section here in the middle. Let's go get this on the smoker. We have a nice wispy smoke coming out. And this guy is just sitting at 225. Perfect.
I've got my thermometer set for 112 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm doing that because I want to pull this really low. I want to go for almost a rare because this is going to be dinner later, and I don't want to overcook it when I'm reheating it.
Looking nice and crusty. Grab that guy out. Grab our deflectors. There you go. Just a few minutes at wide open, and we are ready to sear this sucker.
In total, I seared this thing for about 4.5 minutes, flipping it often and just making sure I didn't get any flare-ups. I was trying to avoid getting too dark a burnt crust, just a nice crust all over. The fat cap side did have a little bit of a tendency to flare up, but as long as you're watching it and moving it around, you should be absolutely fine. Did make sure to try to get the one side that didn't have the probe in it, a little bit of color on it. I would have loved to get the other side, but it had the probe. All right, that looks done. Even after that, it barely moved the internal temperature, so I set it back up to go on the top rack to cook and come to its final temp. I'm going to pull this guy probably around 129. After about 30 minutes, we have a perfect looking piece of beef.
That looks pretty fantastic to me. We're going to let this rest for a good 5 or 10 minutes so we don't lose all the juices to the board. Our 10-minute rest is up. You have done your job. Time for this guy to do it. Now remember, we have 2 grain directions. We have a muscle. There's a line right there, I think. That is beautiful. Okay, I can see the grain is running this direction. Chunky slices here. That is beefy. That is tender. All right, let's get down to what do I think about this experiment? I think it worked really well. It is tender. It is not 100% prime rib tender, but is very close. I think I can get it as tender or even more tender than a traditional prime rib if I used sous vide. If you guys are interested in seeing that, leave a comment down below. I'd be happy to try it out. Now, I don't know if I would serve this as my centerpiece of my holiday meal, but for a regular weeknight or maybe just a get together with friends, this does the trick. It gives you everything you want from prime rib for about half the cost. If you're interested in getting a knife from new West KnifeWorks, I've got a link and a code down in the description that can save you some bucks. Go check it out. So, with all that out of the way, I guess there's only one question left to answer. What do you call a cow with a twitch? Beef jerky. Yeah, Dad may tell horrible dad jokes, cook some fantastic prime rib. But one thing Dad will never do is an outro. So that's it. Bye.
This is the part where I thank all of my members. You guys are the absolute best. Thank you so much for your support, and rock on. I don't know why I said rock on, but rock on.